Joining me now is Boson Protocol co-founder Justin Banon, RedDAO co-founder and First Light co-founder Megan Kaspar, and Cider co-founder Yu Oppel. Hello. Thank you for joining me amongst this chaos. It's organized chaos. It's wonderful, right? All right, so we're here to talk about digital and physical fashion and the merging of the worlds. Justin, I'm going to start it with you. Did you think we'd get to this place where we're actually talking about digital fashion the same way we talk about physical fashion so quickly?
It's amazing how quickly this area has just kind of flipped. I think, a little over a year ago, no one really had heard of things like the Metaverse. I mean, there was NFTs, etc. But in a year, I think, the fashion industry has gone from, not having much involvement at all to everyone has to have a Metaverse and a digital fashion strategy.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned that because along with NFTs came the Metaverse and also came DAOs. Megan, can you introduce us to what RedDAO does and how that relates back to the fashion world?
Of course. So RedDAO is the first DAO that was formed last year, specifically focused on investing in and proliferating the entire digital fashion sector inside of the crypto ecosystem. So we invest in NFTs, non-fungible tokens like Luxo, Boson Protocol is another one, and then we also invest in startup companies that are building platforms inside of the digital fashion ecosystem, as well as supporting digital fashion native designers like Charlie Cohen.
And speaking of digital fashion and the Metaverse, Cider was at Metaverse Fashion Week, is still there. Tell me about the decision to take a traditional fashion brand that has made a name for itself in the real world into a Metaverse Fashion Week.
Sure, thank you for having me, Jen. So Cider is a Gen Z fashion brand, right? We're only, 2 years old. Obviously, started on Web 2 only, but very curious about the space. So we thought, Metaverse Fashion Week would be a great place for us to show up and experiment. And I mean, as a Gen Z startup, I felt like it's only fitting for us to launch a virtual store first in Web 3 before we do it in real life. And it has been an amazing experience so far.
I think a lot of people, or what I've heard from a lot of people in the industry who aren't really focused on NFTs and Metaverse is like, why would I care about having a digital piece of fashion? I want to wear the real thing. Let's start with you, Justin. What would you tell that person?
Well, if you believe that we're going to be spending increasing amounts of time in this digital reality, which is the Metaverse, then the need to express your identity and differentiate yourself is even greater there, because everyone's just got this kind of like blank avatar, and so digital fashion is really an expression of that identity. And what we're seeing is that digital and physical fashion are now merging, and technology like Boson Protocol enables that.
Yeah, fashion really is it's self-expression, right? It's a real indicator of culture, and I think as the Metaverse becomes our culture and we spend more and more time there, I think COVID accelerated that. We really want to express ourselves in the Metaverse. I personally didn't think that we would be seeing these big brands like Burberry and Dolce & Gabbana get so embedded in it so quickly. Megan, were you surprised to see that happen?
It is a shock if you look at their participation from Web 2. Onboarding into e-commerce, but I think that there was so much disruption that happened from Web 2 into e-com that brands are now seeing meta-commerce as a major opportunity, and they want to make sure that they're not going to miss out and that they're going to survive through this next wave of innovation through the dematerialization of the fashion industry.
Yeah, I want to talk about audiences. When we look at target audiences, it feels like maybe the physical fashion world targets a different audience than the digital fashion world. As a brand that operates in both, how do you target those audiences effectively?
I mean, for us, for Web3, it's definitely an experiment. So we are, still figuring things out. I mean, from the Metaverse Fashion Week, definitely saw interesting signals, right? Like some dude on Twitter telling everyone that Cider is his favorite store in Decentraland, which is, very, a good surprise. But also, people dressing up like Sailor Moon, wearing our Cider dresses. That's like part of their experience and also self-expression. I think fashion is a great vehicle for that, regardless whether it's, building that digital identity or physical identity. So it's really exciting for us to, explore how to merge these two worlds together through the veins of fashion.
Justin, did I hear that Boson bought a glass Dolce & Gabbana suit?
We did, yes. This glass suit has these kind of three elements of a physical suit, a digital NFT, and then some experiential elements as well. And yeah, I mean, we're about to, in a couple of months, launch version 2 of Boson Protocol, which has also been awarded World Economic Forum Technology Pioneer status as this kind of breakthrough technology for digital to physical commerce, and we will be, selling that suit using Boson Protocol V2, and so look forward to telling you more about that activation.
I can't wait to hear it. Now, speaking of buying notable things, RedDAO bought a Doge Crown. Is that correct?
Yeah. So 3 of the 9 pieces that Dolce & Gabbana dropped on UNXT were purchased by RedDAO, and one of them was the Doge Crown, which to date is still historically the most expensive fashion NFT that exists. And it's the physical crown, the digital crown, and as well as experiences that UNXT worked together with Dolce & Gabbana to provide its holders.
When I think about the metaverse and getting everyone involved in the ins and outs of what we're seeing in the metaverse, education and accessibility are really important, right? And these pieces we're talking about are very expensive. It's hard, I think, for a mainstream audience to wrap their head around what to do and what to buy and where to go, especially when there are a lot of mainstream headlines about scams and, and protecting yourself. So how do we start to address this audience so that they can onboard into the metaverse and participate in fashion safely and affordably? I'm going to start with you and then we'll come back.
Okay, cool. I would say maybe regardless Web3 or not, like there is that interest, right, of exploring, digital avatars' identity. So it may not have to be, starting with like having a wallet right off the bat. You could maybe try, partnering with sort of different games, right? Like trying, something that's more native to the younger audience, like, Roblox, like Zepital, for example. And then maybe people will get more warmed up to the idea of owning digital assets, just like how they do it in, buying a skin in Fortnite, for example. And then you can gradually educate people that way. And I know there's other, platforms that make it a lot easier nowadays, like Bisky, for example. So I'm pretty hopeful about the space. Right now, obviously, for example, Decentraland has a hurdle, right? You have to use a PC, you have to have a wallet, have to have mana. It's pretty complex for a new user, new to the space. But, as new players are coming up and evolving and making the platform and technology way more accessible, I think, we're going to see great new solutions.
Justin, you want to give us your final thought before we wrap up this segment?
Well, Boson Protocol enables buyers to buy physical items as NFTs and gives this kind of assurance that either they'll get the item or their money back. So that core protection is one of the primary sort of use cases of Boson Protocol.
Justin, Megan, thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Coindesk TV at Consensus.